Worshipful Mayor of St Anne's on the Sea, Deputy Mayor, councillors, civic society members, ladies and gentlemen, we gather to invite guests from the Gresley Society to assist in unveiling this Lytham St Anne's Civic Society Blue Plaque. Nigel Gresley was appointed apprentice at the Horwich Loco Works within the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway Company, and whilst climbing the ladder into management, he was posted to Blackpool as locomotive foreman. He met Ethel Francis Fulliger of St Anne's, and this plaque commemorates their marriage, celebrated at St Anne's Parish Church in October 1901. Gresley was knighted in 1936 as recognition of his design and engineering skills. He is probably most remembered for the creation of the locomotives Mallard and the Flying Scotsman. I would like to record that, in his absence, Mr St Anne's David Wood had relentlessly sought to see, and I know he'll be immensely proud, to look down on this event today. I hand on to the Mayor and a member of the Society to unveil the plaque.
Good afternoon everyone, I hope you can all hear me, and welcome, and as the town crier says, to our guests have already stated the facts of Sir NIGEL GRESLEY. It is just left for me to officially welcome you to St Anne's on the Sea. I wish to give a huge thank you to David McIntosh from the Nigel Gresley Society, who's travelled here today, Marion Coo, Vince Settle, proposer of the plaque, and members of the Civic Society. I also must mention the newly formed Friends group, who have had a huge impact on the station and its grounds. Thank you. Thank you. David Brewer, a real enthusiast who has taken photographs of all stations in the country, what a fantastic achievement, is here today. So without further ado, can I please invite you to St Anne's right on through St Anne's Palace for refreshments, where there will be time for conversation with the two Davids and members of the Civic Society. Thank you. So, you and I, David, will be yes, jointly.
But just in case anybody isn't, I just want to record the thanks of the Civic Society to the St Anne's Town Council, who actually funded the plaque, and whose idea it was. It was Vince Settle's idea to have this, and he discovered this link. What actually hasn't been said is that this is the anniversary today of the wedding. So they wouldn't have thought that all this time forward their wedding anniversary would have been commemorated in this way. So round to the St Anne's Palace. There's refreshments there and we can have a further chat.
That's in there, you could do it.
I'm just going to get a close.
Oh, sorry.
I just want to thank you all for coming again, and I just want to thank a few individuals for putting extra effort into this. Anne Boddice has done all the arranging over there, so and she'll be arranging our next blue plaque, which, if all goes according to plan, should be on Queen Mary School. And if anybody's got ideas for other blue plaques, then please let us know. Because this one was a complete surprise. It was a really interesting little snippet of St Anne's history. I'd also like to thank David Griffiths, who brings his curtain along regularly each time, and to George Horridge, where is he? Yeah, who puts them on the wall for us. Now, originally this was going to be some engineers from the railway company, whichever one it is, I think we were all a bit nervous about that, and so we're really glad that George did it, because he knows how to do it, because it's not particularly easy, because you can't see any of the screws, as you might have noticed. I also want to say, if you're not a member of the Civic Society and you're local, please join. I also have some copies of Victorian Lytham. I know it's Lytham on Western Towns. Here for sale at a discounted price. I'll put them out if you're interested. And we also have some raffle tickets for our fundraising, which is going on at the moment. Some of you will already have bought them, I'm sure, but we have some more here just in case anybody would like to buy some. So then I'd like to pass over to, is it David McIntosh?
Yes.
Next, who's chairman of the Sir Nigel Gresley Society.
Thank you very much. Yes, David McIntosh. I'm a Welshman. Not many Welsh Macintoshes, but I am one. But I did begin I'm a professional railwayman. I began my railway career, the only engine shed, the LNER, London North Eastern Railway, ever owned in Wales. So I do have a proper Welsh connection as well. Anyway, first of all, I ought to pass on an apology because Sir Nigel and Ethel had 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. But only one of the daughters had any children, and they had 2 sons. Sorry, no, Ethel had several children, but 2 sons who still survive, Tim and Ben. Tim, unfortunately, was called into hospital last week, so he's unfortunately had hoped to be with us today, but he's detained courtesy of the NHS at the moment, and his younger brother Ben only came back from a continental holiday yesterday, and he lives in Sussex, so it was a bit of a trek to try and dash back here, having only arrived home late last night. So apologies from Tim and Ben, who are the 2 surviving relatives. I'm very pleased to be here. One of the things that we try to do is commemorate places and events that have an association with the great man himself, and it is actually 115 years ago today that he and Ethel were married here in St Anne's, so it's appropriate today. And we've had several events this year, not least of which on the 5th of April we actually had a ceremony at King's Cross Station in London where we unveiled a statue of Sir Nigel. From this part of the world, you won't pass through King's Cross very often, but if any of you do, I recommend it's in a prominent location on the concourse. And we were fortunate, we found a sculptress who's actually captured the look of Sir Nigel brilliantly. So it is quite a useful talking point on the main concourse at King's Cross Station. Now, we also at the back of that had a plaque. Unfortunately, I had a slight hitch there with our plaque because behind the statue, the wall is brickwork. Now, King's Cross Station is Grade 2 listed, so we had to get authority not just from Camden Council, but English Heritage and all sorts of other people. And English Heritage have a thing about brickwork, apparently, and we were not allowed to drill into any of the brickwork. We were only allowed to drill into the mortar. So the positioning of the fixing for the plaque was absolutely critical. Now, because of my antiquity, I still work in imperial measurements. Metric is still foreign territory to me. So I measured the brickwork very carefully in imperial measurements. Unfortunately, that got translated into metric. So the manufacturer of the plaque then did the fixings for metric. And when we came on the night before the unveiling and the ceremony to fix the plaque behind, we found it was several millimetres out and they couldn't drill into the mortar. So we had to do some adjustments subsequently. So the plaque appeared a bit like... So I'm used to the issues of trying to get plaques affixed to walls with the extra complication of saying when it's English heritage and you can't drill into the brickwork. Yes. Anyway, thanks very much indeed for the invitation today. It's been a splendid ceremony, and I see that somebody arranged the weather as well. I'm sure the sun shines every day here in St Anne's, doesn't it? Yes. In the same way, being a Welshman, it always shines as well in Wales. I had a very pleasant weekend back at my old college in Swansea this last weekend, and the sun shone all day Saturday and Sunday. So the weather seems to be doing us proud at the moment. So thank you once again.
And then David Brewer. I'd like to introduce David Brewer, who has taken a photograph, I think, of every railway station in the country. What do you think about everybody calling them train stations these days?
Train stations?
Yeah, they don't say railway station anymore, do they? They say railway.
It's still a railway station.
Still a railway? Well, I think
Yes.
it is, yeah, but everybody says train station.
Train station is a nasty Americanisation.
Well, thank you for inviting me here today. As you say, just for the last 10-15 years I have been round to all the stations. In fact, my railway interest goes back to when I was a boy growing up in the late 50s, early 60s. So I was fortunate enough to see many of the Gresley Pacifics working. I often made visits to London where we had relatives with my parents, and whilst in London, instead of going round to the museums and the attractions in London, I always found time to go to the railway stations, Paddington, Liverpool Street, Waterloo, and perhaps my favourite at King's Cross. I can recall now, over 50 years ago, many days spent at the end of the platform, it was platform 9, I might be corrected, on King's Cross Station, seeing all these marvellous Gresley Pacifics coming into the station. I think my particular favourites were the A4 Pacifics, which included well, two engines that I'm sure people are familiar with. The engine named Sir Nigel Gresley, and of course Mallard, which attained the world steam record, which still stands today. Later on I was able to travel on my own to places like York, Newcastle and Edinburgh, where once again I would see all these marvellous Gresley Pacifics and other locomotives that he had designed. moving forward perhaps 50 years from then, we've been very fortunate that a number of the, particularly the A4 Pacifics, are now in preservation. And I think there might have been a number of people here, about 3 years ago, when we had what was called a Great Gathering. 6 of the A4 Pacifics still survive, in addition to Mallard and Sir Nigel Gresley. There were 2 locomotives which have been in America and in Canada. They came over, and all 6 of these locomotives were seen together at York Museum. That was a fantastic achievement, getting all these together. And in fact, later in the year, they were at the, in the northeast at Shildon. Earlier this year, I expect quite a number of people were aware that perhaps the most famous of all his locomotives, Flying Scotsman, that having had many years at Bury being restored, came out and did a couple of runs on the East Lancs Railway, and I happened to be fortunate enough to be at York Station when it did the journey from King's Cross. Anybody who was there then would see how popular this engine was. There was thousands of people actually on York Station waiting for the train to arrive. I'm in no way a railway historian. In fact, it's only in the last few weeks that I was aware that Nigel Gresley did part of his apprenticeship and working here in the northeast, in the northwest. Apologies for that. Also, firstly at Horwich, in the works there. I believe he was at Newton, but perhaps most importantly, here as locomotive shed supervisor at Blackpool. And of course, it was here where he met his wife, Ethel, and, as been said, was married here in 1901, 75, or 114 years ago, is it? I've got that right, 115 years ago, 150 years ago. So it's given me great pleasure to be part of these commemorations of this event, and I'd like to thank anybody here for inviting me to do so. Thank you.
For enabling this, and thank you, Cheryl, for coming along and helping unveil. This is John Bentham here, who's very kindly doing the video, so be on YouTube as usual. Thank you, John, and thanks everybody at the Civic Society. If Civic Society members are wondering, we've invited people involved, people who help lots and lots, and life members and patrons. So, just thought I'd let you know that. So, thanks everybody. Is there anybody else want to say anything? Tony?
Could I just have a word about the Friends of St Anne's stations? And the S at the end is very important because we've got 2 stations in St Anne's, Squires Gate and the current station in the town centre. We set up the Friends group earlier this year, April, May, and we've had working parties on quite a regular basis to try and improve the look of the station. This year we've painted all the fencing, improved the planting, we're creating the raised bed on the platform later on in the year, and we've taken over the management of the 3 grass areas at the front, and we're going to plant those with bulbs so that there's some spring colour there rather than just overgrown grass. So all that's in train at the moment. We've had a grant from the Town Council to get us started, which we're very grateful for, and having a small amount of money from the Town Council has enabled us to bid for extra funds, and the Association of Commuter Rail Partnerships has chipped in with £1,000 towards improvements to the station. We've done some nagging with Northern Rail and with Network Rail, and improvements are starting to take place at Squires Gate, which looks a little bit pitiful at the moment, I have to say, and there's due to be some improvements there shortly with CCTV and a new shelter and 1 or 2 other things as well. So the Friends group is designed really to make our stations far more attractive with a view to encouraging more people to use the train. It's a sustainable form of transport. If you want to get involved with the Friends group, if you want to give me your name and I'll add you to our list, and we'll let you know what we're doing and when. And about 16, 17 of us at the moment. We use the train to go to Squires Gate to do the work there. Looks good with all getting our high-vis jackets on. But if you'd like to help out, you'd be very welcome. We just want to make the station look better. It's the main gateway to the town, and we're very proud of it. So if you would like to be involved, please let me know. Thank you.